artists. This is Mrs. Alseri. In this video, we are going to be making a shaded loop-de-loop drawing. So I have my example here. You basically draw a really long overlapping line as big as you can fit it on your paper, and it creates a shape. And then you're going to shade using 2 to 3 different colors in each space. So some supplies that you're going to need are a blank white piece of paper. Mine is underneath my art here. A pencil and an eraser. And if you prefer to draw in marker, you can use a black marker. You can either draw with pencil and outline and marker, or just skip the pencil altogether. But if you make a mistake, you're just gonna have to go with it, which is fine. And then some kind of crayons or colored pencils would work well. I have been using my oil pastels because I don't have crayons, so I have a rainbow assortment of them in here. And marker won't work very well for this because we are going to be learning about some shading techniques. Okay, so to save time, I'm going to try to draw my loop-de-loop with a Sharpie or a black marker, and I'm gonna kind of show you how I do it. I start in one corner. Here's my tripod leg, looks like an octopus. I'm going to start and I'm going to draw a curvy line, and I'm going to go very slow. And as I move around all the way to the other side, maybe I want to draw some loops. Holding your paper with your other hand. And then I'm going to come back to the middle and I'm going to make some more loops. And I'm going to reach up to the top. So you might have done one of these types of drawings before. I call them loop-de-loop drawings. Some people call them scribble drawings. The tricky part about using a Sharpie is that if you need to fix something, or if you don't have enough overlapping lines, you can't erase it. So the next step is to look and see if you have at least like 10 different little shapes to color in, and I definitely do not. So we're gonna count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think I missed that one, 6. And then I have this huge area. So before I move on to coloring, I'm going to split up this big area with some lines. So that's the next step. So your goal is that you want medium-sized spaces. So if you want, you can kind of break it up with a curvy line. Like if I have a large area over here, and kind of break it up and then take a step back and look. What do you guys think? Maybe I could put like one more curvy line in here, and then this is one big shape in there, so I could go like there. Do you see how I'm using lines to create smaller shapes? I'm not really thinking too hard about it. It's just, I'm just looking at these areas of white space. So the definition of a shape is an area that's closed by lines. So if you look, I can see that there's no openings where my shapes are. That's gonna give me areas to color in. But then I have like something happening over here. This ends up becoming my background. So when you're done with your loop-de-loop and it's nice and big and it takes up most of your paper, and you have at least 10 spaces to color in, I might have said 8, let's go with 10. Then you're gonna kind of make sure you can see the difference between this blank white background and this blob that you just made that really is one main shape divided into a bunch of smaller shapes. So in my flower lesson yesterday, we learned about analogous colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So for this project, we are going to also use colors that are close on the color wheel, but if you would like to, you can just stick to warm or cool. So there's a little bit less thinking because most of us have learned that the warm colors are red, orange, and yellow. And on the other side of the color wheel is the cool colors. Let's see, green, blue, and purple. So if you want, you can either do red, orange, yellow, or you can do green, blue, purple. So pick one of those sets of colors, and they're not very limited. You could do any in-betweens. So if you wanted to do warm colors, you could also stick pink in there because pink is similar to red. If you're doing cool colors and you have different shades of blue, maybe you would like to do light blue, dark blue, green, or turquoise, green, and dark blue. So have some fun with it. Pick colors that you really like. Okay, so I chose 2 colors. If you would like to use 3, that's fine. I chose 2 cool colors. They're gonna look nice together, turquoise and purple. They're in the same family of cool colors because they hang out on the same side of the color wheel. And I'm going to start back where I began drawing my loop-de-loop. So I'm working back in that corner, and we are going to talk about shading. So for my kindergarten friends, you can definitely handle this. I believe in you, and I think it's awesome that you're going to try this with me today. It is a little bit tricky because you have to use a different amount of pressure when you push down. But if you're up for the challenge, I would absolutely love to see some kindergartners trying to do some shading. And you get better the more and more you do it. So what you're gonna do is start at the bottom and you're going to push hard. I'm actually using colored pencils. I thought I was gonna use my pastels, but colored pencil actually is gonna work really nice because they'll go fast for this project. So if you have some colored pencils, you're welcome to use them. So this is pushing pretty hard, right? I'm using a lot of pressure. When I get about halfway and I have some room, I'm gonna color lightly and I'm not going to push down. And then you're gonna see this area right here where the 2 colors meet. If that bothers you and you would like to overlap by lightly coloring on top of where the 2 colors meet, that's how you start to blend. You can do this with crayon really well too. If this is too tricky for you and you would rather do something like, let's do this little guy over here. If you would rather color in the whole thing very lightly without pushing, you can do that first. And then you can pick 1/2 to color using more pressure and color on top. That's another way that you can shade. So if you would like to practice on the back of your paper a little bit first, till you get the hang of it, you are more than welcome to. So I'm just going to move around my drawing and shade in my loop-de-loops. Let's try this big space and see how it goes. So this is the side I decided that it's gonna be darker. And if you want, you can even draw a line where you think halfway is, and you know that you're going to color harder right up to that line. And just take your time and relax. You are here to make art. You don't want to see a lot of that white paper underneath, so go slow. And remember to push a little harder, not so hard that you break your drawing utensil, but use some pressure. Try not to get outside the lines, but if you do, it's okay. And then I am going to start lightening up very gently. If you want, you can hold your pencil back here or your crayon, and that'll kind of make you lighten it up a bit. A lot of artists prefer to draw this way because it's like holding a paintbrush. And you might notice that you tend to get a little bit harder in some areas without realizing it, like I did. That's okay, just go with it. The more you do this, the better you get, and it's really fun. And kindergartners, this is really good practice for your coloring. I know it's a lot of space, but it's gonna look so cool. Okay, so if that line in the middle bothers you, then you can very lightly color right on top of where the light and dark meet. And look at you, you're blending. So you're just going to kind of move around. If you want to do the small ones first and come back to the large shapes, you can. If you want to color in the large shapes first and come back to the small ones, just kind of figure out how you're gonna move around. And I like to alternate between my two colors so that it's nice and balanced, purple, turquoise, but you can kind of do it however you want. Okay, so here's my finished shaded loop-de-loop drawing. I had to go back and blend the areas of light and dark. If you are comfortable with shading at this point and you want to go back and just using medium pressure, kind of push those two tones together, you may. Otherwise, I hope to see you guys later.